And so to answer that question, I think we need to start with why AI-generated text doesn't sound human in the first place, or whether or not that's actually currently true. So I think that when these models originally came out a couple of years ago, they did sound very robotic. And I think that A, it was a bit easier to tell whether or not you were looking at AI-generated text. And B, I do think that the argument around, not having that human factor was certainly more obvious. I think that has changed over the years. I think that when you interact with most Gen AI systems that focus on text these days, it tends to maybe not sound 100% human, but certainly have a more human cadence to it and not have that kind of robotic tone. And a lot of that is just because these models change and improve over time based on the companies that make them. That can be increasing the training data, that can be fine-tuning to a particular tone, that can be context windows, being able to pull back more information from earlier in the conversation. That can be things like understanding of nuance. And so I think that over the years, because of that, the robotic tone has disappeared somewhat. It's not completely gone, but they've certainly been dialed in to sound more human. Also, in my opinion, I think that there are still certain areas where AI systems sound weird in terms of the text. A big one is fiction writing to me. I think that there's something about fiction that, whether it's like metaphors, nuance, reading between the lines, there's something there that it's these models haven't quite been trained to pick up yet. And so you can see that in tools like Sutterwrite. I roasted it in my newsletter, which comes out, I think, later today by the time this video goes up. So if you're interested in reading that, you can find it in the description. But even as these tools have evolved over time, there are certainly still areas likely having to do with either a lack of training data in that space or a lack of focus on it due to the people who make them, where they still don't necessarily replicate what we would expect if a human being wrote it.